Good morning, all of you. I'm a bit confused whether to say good morning, good afternoon. Anyway, good namaste, which is 24/7 I can use. Thank you so much. I'm honored and humbled to be in this audience. What I'm going to do is today's narrative. Before that, let me just tell you something about Dalai Lama, the most respectable Buddhist preachers. He said, an individual, commitment or a compassionate approach with kindness will have a long effect across the globe in terms of spreading harmony across the world. Now, while this narrative, which I'm going to take you through, it's not just I'm putting it as a story, but it's more of a real thing happened a couple of years back while I was part of the Axiata team based out of Kuala Lumpur. So one fine day, in the month of August 2016, we were having the Cause Alliance, the periodic steering committee meeting in Vietnam. So halfway through the meeting, suddenly I'm getting a text message from the MD of our newly acquired property in Nepal. Axiata, as a policy of getting into inorganic growth, we acquired one of the largest operators in Nepal, which is TeliaSonera, which is one of the biggest telecom conglomerate globally. They're a Swedish company. So they have been running it and they exit and we took over. Simon Perkins, the MD of Nepal for Axiata, is a veteran. He took over as, joined as the MD over there. I have to touch upon Simon briefly. There's a reason for it. When we all talk about leadership, Simon and me, I worked with Simon as part of the group marketing. He was the CMO. I was directly working under him, looking after the marketing activities for all our countries of operations. So Simon texted me, Binoy, things are getting worse. There's a violent mob in our office. So I was aware that there was something which is going wrong from the trade. You know that unlike earlier, our teenage days, we thought, Pepsi and Coke, FMCG companies have the maximum widest distribution. But ever since the telecom, the mobility started, that's wrong. They have the largest and widest distribution network. So I can just tell you, so you can resonate it well with the numbers. When I was leaving for this group leadership exchange program, shifting over to relocating to Kuala Lumpur for a 5 years leadership assignment in 2013, as national marketing head for IDEA, I was also looking after the sales and distribution. At that point of time, IDEA India had 1.5 million touch points across the country. I'm talking about 2012, 2013. So thereafter, I'm just giving you the size and scale so you can understand. So Simon's text message reads that, can you please step out of the meeting? Because as I was the executive director for Cause Alliance, Simon was the chairman of Cause. Simon didn't join because of this new assignment. And then he said, please step out of the meeting. I went out. He said that, can you please take over? Can you come down quickly? Without thinking anything, I just said, yes. At the same time, my attention has gone to Kathmandu. I'm not familiar. Unfamiliar market, unfamiliar terrain. Lot of similarities to the Asia-Pacific region, very similar to India, because you know how the trade unrest happens in our country, particularly Kerala. I don't have to explain you much. Almost similar to that. So they're violent, they are unrest. And what adds fuel to all these things, all this behavior? TeliaSonera, as an operator, our predecessor, was planning to exit out of the business for the last 2 years. So the motivation, the connect, the communication, the collaboration, everything was seriously lacking, or it calls for an enhancement. That's the time all these things happen. What happened was in Axiata, we have all our countries of operations, we have an automated, digitalized distribution system. Typically, what happens is it enhances your productivity, your profitability of the company. So while this was happening, I could judge or I could create a sequential planning. One more thing happened. At the time of when this merger and acquisition talks were happening, from the headquarters, since I am part of the headquarters team, the corporate center at Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and Simon being my favorite boss, and I'm one of the blue-eyed resource for him. So he shared a lot of things. So what happened is while the due diligence was happening, we typically hire the international global consultants. So they were working on the due diligence. What I did is, I did my own due diligence. I sent a 2-page note to Simon before the moment I knew that he's going to be assigned as the MD of. So one aspect I covered, I still remember, I covered a detailed note on emotional intelligence, emotional connect. What triggers is, my father was an ex-army officer. So during childhood, I closely interacted with the Nepal community, particularly Gurkhas. Very high loyalty. They're committed to the core. So I made some statements. I did some analysis also about the psychological behavior of them. They are extremely good. They need a good commander. They need a good leader. They don't need managers. So I said, if you can connect well with emotions, you can. The job is done. So that triggered my adrenaline. So anytime these kind of challenges happens, I have this behavior to, just wanted to get onto it. Simon asked, have you checked with your family? I said, no. I will do it because that's my style. At this age of 54, that time it was 52. This is 2 years back, August 2016. I said, my family doesn't expect me to do it because that's my nature. He said, okay, fine, Binoay, done. Then I said, can you please ask the travel desk to do my detouring? I didn't realize that moment that me and family planned for a vacation 2 days after that. Supposed to come back from Hanoi to Kuala Lumpur, take my family back to Cochin for a vacation because we have settled in Bombay. So without asking anything, and it's a personal long trip, of course, obviously we took this, low-cost airline. Low-cost airline, we know that when you cancel it, you're gone. But I didn't flag it off to Simon also. Everything done, evening, I was back. And on board, because I have to take my luggage and other readiness, nobody knows that how long it will take to repack and get the next flight from Kuala Lumpur to Kathmandu. So in the flight, I started jotting down everything, what needs to be done. What are the challenges which, at that point of time, because lack of communication, new terrain, new market, you don't know anything about it. And the newspaper reports, and me and Simon started exchanging texts. He said 2 of our sites were blasted. So you can imagine, highly volatile situation. So by the time I started thinking about your security, and as an organization, Axiata is very strict about their employees' security. I have covered various markets, Bangladesh very highly volatile. So then they issue certain circulars which says that you're not supposed to travel till they clear, even a minor thing. So we being Indian, we know that, all these things, we live thick and through this. I used to laugh, what is this? We can do it. And then it happened. I decided, the trigger in my mind was, I can't tell my wife about this. I called up my brother, a younger one, I'm the eldest one. Very friendly, we are like more thick friends. And one of my childhood friends, I'm basically from Muatupura, another 30 kilometers from here, a village called Mudavu. I called him and said that this is what is happening. So I wanted to keep, both of them knows that once I take a decision, no way stepping back. Both of them said, are you sure? I said, I'm very sure about it. If I succeed, it's a great achievement. If I'm failing, it has to be end of it. So that would also be a very, very good failure kind of a thing. And Simon, let me tell you a little more about Simon. Simon Perkins, I worked with him. He's a British origin person. Fantastic leader. It's true to the aspect of, the titles will get you positions while the leader gets people. That's his philosophy. And he strongly believes that the highway to success is failure. And huge connect between me and him. And I was 100% sure that this is going to succeed. And in the flight itself, I started, and I created sauce. I said my brother and my close friend that if I give you 3 missed calls, means I am gone. So they were also slightly panicking. I said, don't tell anybody, not to my wife. And even Simon wasn't aware of this. I landed in Kathmandu airport, went to the office. While sending, the gate was completely closed, around 150 people in mass. They recorded the way they were blocking me. I said that I came here and only with one assignment. I need to go inside, meet my boss, and settle. I am spokesman for you. I can understand your language. All of us are expatriates. The previous regime also, all were expats. So though I am also an expat, but I'm an Indian, so there's a connect, I see Kathmandu, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka are all extended parts, kind of same kind of the South Asian region. So it didn't, they were abusive, some kind of push and pull. I said, see, I'm one single guy, you're 150 people, this is not right. If you're 2-3 people, I can at least try an attempt. And I said, I'm son of an army officer, so this blood is, so please, I'm not here to, just do away with things, but kindly understand with folded hands. And they were again, then I said, can you imagine, we are all from the same philosophy. We believe in Aditi Devo Bhava. Oh, that cracked the whole thing. The 150 people split into 2 groups. One guy said, "Arey, sabko andar dena." I said, "Main to aapke liye." And then I could see the friction. I just went to the most aggressive, toughest guy, put my hands around his shoulder. I said, what is this happening? You allow me to. I can understand your language. I can understand Hindi. You can speak in Hindi. Allow me to go. I will convince. My boss is a fantastic person. I will make things. I am your voice. And they said, okay, done. But one condition, you cannot go from the front gate. You have to go through the rear one. So the security guys in our office, our security chief, an HOD level SLT person, is a very senior ex-police officer from Kathmandu. So his people were standing. He said, no, don't push him and all. I said, please, leave it aside. You guys go away. I will handle it. And then I went inside. So they said, rear. I said, no way. मैं चोरी करने के लिए थोड़ी आया. I wanted to resolve this issue. They agreed. I went inside. So Simon said, oh, you walked in through the front gate. I said, yes. I know you will do it. I said, Simon, let us get into action. I need 2 most trustworthy guys, sensible guys. He identified 2 guys. There comes one CP and one Anil Shrestha, intelligent guys. CP never laughs, he never smiles. His face is always like this. So in the first meeting, while we are having the negotiation the same evening at one of the best hotels in Kathmandu, the trade people, they were looking at him, and they were all talking. I was completely, then CP is intervening. I said, cool, relax. So around 25 minutes, they were talking. I was a listener. Half the thing is done. Then I could resonate very well that they were all very comfortable. And then in between CPs, I said, I put the angry young man. Even now I call him like that. So it was done. Now we very successfully, on the 4th day of this, the strike is called off. I went, and they were acknowledging me that the first SLT leadership team who was traveled all across the terrain in Kathmandu, even if you're taking a chopper, in a month, with due respect, a couple of them will land. It's very unfortunate. And even the road traffic, by road, it's not that safe. And monsoon, beginning of monsoon. I traveled all across, even to the deepest villages. And again, what happens at the peak of it, once I went to one of the villages where I was with this feet-on-street guy. He had a nice green bullet, though I have a license, but not international license for the bullet. So I was fascinated because I've been watching my father riding in an olive green bullet. So he hardly uses the car, that childhood thing. I said, can I have a ride? He said, of course. I said, let's go to the market. Me and him went. So he was, it was so wonderful moments, wow moments for him, because none of the leaders have traveled with him, that too in a bike. So I connected. So this news, what happens is genuine people, they're so humble, humility, they're grounded, they spread this. So the communication and publicity is already done by them. It made my work much more easier. We did, you won't believe, we have done the demarcation. Cool, within the 2nd month, we clocked in 20% growth in our revenue sales revenues. And it is actually a moment of really an achievement for all the team, everybody. So what happens is typically very similar to our kind of philosophy, not all India, I will say. Kerala, I am also Keralite, so I can authentically say that. We have this mindset. All multinationals are looters and, it's not right. And then one thing what happened was I should just correlate. Now you can correlate. I have some slides which is just talking about certain values which I live and which I try to implement and imbibe in my day-to-day life. That helped me tremendously. While they were blocking me, I said, I am an Indian, Aditi Devo Bhava. My company, my parent company is Aditya Birla Group. That resonates so well. 22 years I am part of the group. So I used to say that I'm AB positive. My blood group is AB positive, really, which is AB stands for Aditya Birla. G is not there. So, and multitasking. Who in the world will have a multitasking? If I've been driving for years, 54 years, I'm a passionate driver all across India, particularly Bombay and Cochin. What else you need? You will have multitasking. You will see even, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Hardly violate any laws. Something erroneously happens, otherwise not. I hope my wife, Kavita, will not challenge this. So that's it. And it made things very clear and easy. Now let me see, you can correlate what I'm talking about and what I spoke about. Here you are. The passion, working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. So it's there. These kind of challenges should intrigue and motivate each of us. And similarly, the seamlessness. So the entire, it was a big story, which I narrated it. It's like, you are putting down it in 18 minutes or less than 18 minutes. So seamlessness, you have witnessed the seamlessness in it. The speed, quick, swift action, response. And all this with humility. The humbleness, humility will take you, it can win everybody's heart. So that's the belief which is striving, and this is the only message which I wanted to religiously spread across with whoever I address, whoever I interact. With this, I'm through.